The Nascar Canadian Tire Series has arrived in Saskatoon, the final stop in the Western Swing. And these 18 NASCARs are ready to race through the Prairie night.
It's been a tough grind for the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. The competition has been fierce and the battle for the championship has heated up as JR Fitzpatrick and DJ Kennington are locked together for the 2010 crown. Next up, the Jewel of the Prairies welcomes the greatest racers in the country. This is race 7 of the 2010 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series presented by Mobil 1. We welcome you to the Velocity Prairie Thunder 250 from the Auto Clearing Speedway in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Hi everyone on this fine Saskatchewan evening. I'm Adam Ross along with Billy Rouse Jr. and Todd Lewis as trackside. Billy, this is one of the best tracks in the country, and it's only fitting that we end our Western Swing here in Saskatoon.
Well, I'll tell you what, Adam, for a club-run racetrack, what a class act facility. The place is just beautifully clean, well-prepared, and look at the crowd we have here tonight.
It's a packed house. Herm Hordle, Trent Seidel, and the rest of their group have once again done it right. This is our second stop in as many years. Last year, Scott Steckley put on a clinic as he started dead last and worked his way to the front, never looking back for the win.
Absolutely. This racetrack was good to Scott Steckley last year in the 22 Canadian Tire team, but last week in Vernon, they took home the win as well. And momentum in racing is huge, and they've got that horse on their side right now.
Billy, Steckley's win at the Motoplex Speedway last week got him a little closer to JR Fitzpatrick's points lead. Kennington's podium finish placed him just 6 markers from the top. Here in Saskatoon, 18 drivers lined up for qualifying. The number 17 Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington grabbed his 3rd pole of the season.
And normally it takes a while to get a handle on a brand new race car, but he's got that new McCall car turn in the middle really well.
Todd standing by with the man who will control the field for tonight's race.
Thanks, guys. DJ Kennington sets a new track record with a 14.824 circuit around this 1/3 mile oval. DJ, the plan tonight, I assume, is the same as usual. Big points night. You're thinking championship still.
Yeah, absolutely. The Castrol Edge Mahindra Tractor Dodge has been awesome and really good right off the trailer again. And hopefully we can big picture race again tonight. But we sure would like to get that Castrol Edge Dodge in the winner's circle.
Yeah, he'd like to have the 3rd win of the season as well as retake the points lead. We'll find out how DJ and the rest of the field does right after this.
This round of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan is brought to you by Castrol. Visit us at ChangeYourOilChangeYourLife.com. And by RX100, eliminating mold at the source and saving lives.
Well, on NASCAR on Sundays, you see the big flyovers. Here in Saskatoon, we have our own flyby with the Canadian Forces F-18.
It's an impressive sight, Billy, and an impressive sound. Almost as impressive as the huge crowd gathered here tonight in Saskatoon, and they're ready to see some racing. Let's send it down trackside.
Young Connor McGrath. Drivers, start your engine.
All that horsepower coming to life here in Saskatoon.
Billy, I can't think of a single race all season long where the field was as close in practice as they were here this afternoon.
Oh, everybody was hot after it, I'm telling you. These crew chiefs and crews went hard to work on these race cars. She was hard to go to get to the front, and Don Thompson Jr. got to the outside of the front row. It's good to see Donnie running good again.
He's looking to do battle. Here we're on board with Mark Dilley, a big contingent of Leland people down here in Turn 4 enjoying the hospitality, and John Gaunt's ready for a good run as well.
And we're on board with Nathan Wink. That car right there is the real local boy. That car is right out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Let's give you tonight's starting grid on the pole. DJ Kennington in that Castrol Edge Dodge. Veteran Don Thompson Jr. on the outside. 2nd row, last week's winner, Scott Steckley on the inside. Ron Beauchamp Jr. will start 4th. 3rd row has Kerry Mix and that Dickies Ford on the inside. The 3 snap-on machine of Jason Hathaway starting 6th. Derek White with his best qualifying effort ever with 7th. John Gaunt will line up 8th. 5th row on the inside has Mark Dilley in that Leland car. Nathan Wink on the outside will start 10th. Row number 6, Jason White in that A&W 21. Outside of him, Todd Nickel in the Bayer Crop Science 6. 7th row, maybe a surprise, Anthony Simone in the 95. Outside of him, JR Fitzpatrick. 8th row, James Van Domsler on the inside, Joey McComb in the Watch It Dodge lined up on the outside. Dexter Stacy will start 17th, and rounding out the field, the Aaron's Dream Machine, Pierre Bourque.
Oh, Ron Board there with Ron Beauchamp Jr. You remember Ronnie was in that bad crash last week. His crew had to work extra hours to get all that damage done when Bourque drove right over the top of that race car.
A lot of cosmetic damage as we saw on the in-car. Great in-cars last week. We hope to see more of the same. Jason White, he should give us a good ride. He loves it here at Saskatoon, Billy.
His crew had to work hard too. Both his cars lost motors last week, so they had to plug in a new heart in the 21.
It should be a great night. We've got a lot of views. Let's go down to Todd Lewis, pit side.
Fellas, a few items just before we go green. The 99 car of Derek White qualifies 7th. By far his best effort of the season. He's had engine problems, but feels they are behind him, looking for a strong run. Also looking for another strong run, the number 48 car of Nathan Wegg. Finished inside the top 10 at Verdun, looking for a good showing here in Saskatoon. Also hearing on the radio, the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick battling some ignition problems already. He switched boxes and hoping that it's okay for the start of this race.
Well, J.R. Fitzpatrick has to be beside himself. He's in a big points battle with 17 DJ Kennington, and that new car blues has got him. They just can't quite get the handle on that new Chevrolet.
He only had one lap of qualifying. He knows he's quicker than that. We're about to see the green flag. DJ Kennington on the inside, Thompson on the outside. We're racing in Saskatoon.
Down into turn 1 for the first time. DJ a little loose on corner entry. Thompson's all over him down the backstretch. This place has got 3 grooves to it. The outside will come in real fast, and I'll tell you, it's there already. Look at Thompson hanging tough on the outside.
On these cold tires, I'm not sure the outside groove is a disadvantage. Look at DJ slide up the racetrack. Avoids contact, but that gives Thompson the race lead.
Wow. Don Thompson Jr. got that number 4 Home Hardware Chevrolet really hooked up on the outside, and he's going to make it stick.
Thompson pulls down in front of Kennington. Kennington with that low line. He's going to look to get to the top spot, but Don Thompson Jr. really working that outside groove, getting a good drag down the straightaway, Billy.
You know what? That Dodge of DJ Kennington really gets down the straightaway strong. But right now, you got to understand that this multiple groove racetrack. The outside, you carry more RPM, so you carry the momentum down the straightaway. DJ, by running down the bottom, he's pinching that car off, and you can see it. It's just a tad too loose to get pinched off down the bottom.
How long will it take to get enough heat in those good years that DJ can get that run on the inside?
Well, Adam, it takes anywhere from 3 to maybe even 10 laps, depending on how low you actually start the pressures on these cars. Because you got to remember, they have a tire rule here, and you got to make sure that you manage your tires really well to get to the end of this race.
You know, it's awfully early in the race, of course, but is Don Thompson Jr. feeling good making DJ work so hard?
Absolutely. There's no team orders, but you got to remember, the 4 car and the 84 are out of the same team. So anytime Thompson can lead a lap and keep DJ from getting those bonus points and or lead the most laps, and I know we're looking over the horizon, but that's a great job for a teammate to take points away from the guy that your teammate's in the points battle with.
How many third-mile tracks can you talk about? They've been side-by-side more than 10 laps now, and I don't see a rubber mark on either one of these race cars. That's racing.
Oh, this is great stuff. You know, we got a real good pair of veteran race car drivers putting a show on right here. Running side-by-side and driving away from the field. DJ makes the pass stick this time by. The temperature's coming up. The old Dodge is starting to thunder.
DJ Kennington puts his name on the leaderboard for leading a lap. That'll get him some bonus points as we're seeing a great battle for third. Ron Beauchamp Jr. looks like he's rebounding pretty well, Billy, from that crash last week. He's up on the wheel running the outside groove, but Hathaway, he's trying to block 2 lanes at once. I'm not sure that's going to work for him.
Well, it's a little early to be blocking, but he certainly is running down the middle of the racetrack, and somebody will make a move on him for sure. Look back there behind that, Kerry Mix. He's running really well here. He likes this racetrack. He's told me this is a real favorite of his.
Listen to that horsepower rumble. Scott Steckley and Ron Beauchamp. Oh, trouble. Wow, John Gaunt does a nice job to save it into turn 3.
He drove it on in the bottom of Kerry Mix. Kerry kind of closed the door a little bit, not maliciously, just kind of startled, and Johnny, being the veteran, got on the brake hard, the back end come around, saved it, no harm, no foul.
Here's a battle for 10th. Jason White in that 21 on the outside. Anthony Simone in the 95 RX 100 machine doing battle, and we're watching it from onboard Jason White's machine.
Simone doing a real good job down the 21's running really good on the outside as well, and there's the 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick.
Boy, you know JR wants to get around these guys. A little bit early in the race for 3 wide. JR's up to 12th after starting 14th.